So at this point we have a quiz program that when we press run, we have a question up here, what is the capital of Ecuador? So I'm going to put the wrong answer here and see what happens. I'm going to click. So notice when I hover over a point, it changes the color of the button. Let me click on this one. And it says, you picked B, Asuncion. No, the answer is C, Quito. Use the right arrow key to go to the next question. And I can, if I click the right arrow key, I go to the next question. It says, what is the capital of Colombia? That's Bogota. You are correct. Okay, so there are a few things that we need to do to make this more of a game. One thing I'd like to do is move this these responses from down here in the terminal window to somewhere up on the screen. So I think I'll start with the use the right arrow key to go to the next question prompt. And that's not a prompt that always wants to be on the screen. That just wants to be on the screen when there's another question to go to, right? So right now, there's only 2 questions in the thing. And it also might be nice to have a back button, but we'll get to that later. So let's try to see about putting this prompt up on the screen when it's appropriate. So I'm going to start by going into Game Manager, because I know that's where I draw the text. Right here it says use the right arrow key to go to the next question. So this is in the action performed method. So the action performed method gets called when you click a button. So let's see. So I'd like for this to get put up on the screen, but the place where the screen gets drawn is with this when we set the background image. So here in the beginning, see we say background image equals new Greenfoot image, get background image, and it says show question and ask buttons. So show question is down here. Let's see, show question. So what show question does is it gets the background, clears out the whole background image, and then it draws all the stuff that goes onto the background image. So it draws this, a blank screen, and then in gray, it sets the color to gray, large font, and draws the question. And and then it draws the draws the question, and then it goes through and puts the buttons down. So what I want to do is, if it makes sense to, in other words, if there are more questions, then I want to draw that string down there where it says show question. So notice there's this test here. It says if question less than question's length. So we have this int called question, and that just keeps track of what question we're on. And then we have this list of strings, which are all the questions in the test. So if you wanted to add more questions, you would add them on here. And we'll get into that in another video. But for right now, we just need to know this keeps track of what question we're on, and you have a collection of questions up here in this questions thing. So when we do this test, when we say if question is less than questions.length minus 1, what questions.length does is it says, oh, okay, I have 1, 2 questions. It counts how many questions. See, that's the last question. It counts how many questions are in this collection. So we know there are 2. And so why are we checking for less than length minus 1? Well, question's length is 2, right? If so that means that question can either be 0 or 1. If question is 0, then that means we have another question that we can get to. If question is 1, then we can't go any farther because there are only 2 questions total. So question's length is 2, but I say question's length minus 1. So then that way, really for when there's only 2 questions, this will only work when once, right? But if there were 5 questions, then any time I had less than 4, if I was on less than question 4, then I would still want to say use the right arrow key. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. Let's say copy. It's still not exactly what I want because it's the system.out. This method call right here, the system.out.println, that writes to the terminal. That writes to that to this area right here, and I want to write to the screen. So in order to write to the screen, I have to use this draw image, this drawstring right here. Okay, so I want to use this. Yeah, okay. I'm going to use this right here. And let's see. Okay. And so then I'm going to, I'm going to draw that string. But what does drawstring need? So drawstring, let's look at, so drawstring is being called on this gImage object. So gImage is a Greenfoot image object. So let's look at that for a second. Let's look at the drawstring method in the Greenfoot image class, what that looks like. In the Greenfoot documentation. Okay, so we have Greenfoot image drawstring, or draw image drawstring. Okay, so drawstring has 3 parameters. It has a string, an X, and a Y. Okay, so it says draw the text given by the specified string using the current font and color. The baseline of the leftmost character is at position X, Y. Okay, so first let's worry about this X, Y. Let's figure out where we're going to put it, and then we'll figure out if the font is okay or whatever. So so we're saying drawstring, and we're going to give it an X and a Y. So for the X, let's just try 5, and then for the Y, let's try. Well, we have to start from height. If I said get height, that's all the way at the bottom of the screen, right? Because the way these screens work is this point right here is 0, 0, and then X values get bigger this way, Y values get bigger this way. Okay, so it's not really, it doesn't work the way your normal coordinate system does, the way you learn it in school. But and that's just because television sets were always, they always marked the arrays on television sets by going across this way, basically by column and row. So you think of it as, X gets bigger, so this goes from 0 to like 500 or whatever it is. What is X and Y? So in this case, I have by 600 by 400. So this is 0, 0. This point is 600, 0. This is 0, 0, and this is 0, 400. And this is 600, 400. Okay, so that's how the coordinate system works. So, so if I say get height, that's the very bottom of the screen, and in fact might not even show up if it's, depending on what you're trying to draw there. So let's see, where was show question? Okay, here it is. So I'll say like get height -5, something like that. All right, and let's see what happens when we compile it. Okay, whoa, way too big, right? So what we can do is change the font size. So let's look at how we do that. So what we have up here is we have 3 different fonts that are kind of built for us. We have a large font that's 30, a medium font that's 24, and a small font that's 20. And if that turns out not to be small enough, we can pick a different one. But for now, let's work with small font. And in fact, let's see, because it's the large font, I think, with the questions in. So let's see where that gets set, and then we can figure out how to do. Okay, so right here, see, we say set font to be the large font. So to draw these guys, this part of the screen, we want to set the font to be small. So let's try the small font and see how that looks. If that doesn't do it, we might need to make a tiny font. Let's see. Okay, that kind of looks okay, but what if we want to also do the... It still doesn't look tiny enough to me. You know, we're still going to want room for saying what the right answer is, and I mean for, you know, for putting these other prompts in here, and I'd like it a little smaller, so I'm going to make a tiny font. And call and make that 12, let's say. And so here I'm going to make this be the tiny font. And also, I think I'd like it better if this one was black. So I'm going to copy this set color. I still want to draw this, the big question is gray, so I'm leaving the color gray up here. But this one I want to say color black. So now anything that gets drawn after this point will be drawn in black. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, that's more like what I was thinking. Use the right arrow key to go to the next question. And maybe put a period after that. Let's see. Okay. All right. So then we want to be able to you know, put in these prompts about what you picked and so on. So let's see. I think, you know, since this is running kind of long, I'm going to save that for the next video. So in the next video, we will see how to move these other prompts about what you picked and know the answer is. Okay. We do have these nice, you know, things that kind of tell us up here when we're wrong or right, and those were good ideas actually, Gabe, for the coloring. But let's also, you know, go ahead and stick in these prompts here into the screen, and we'll do that next time.